Hi everyone and welcome back to my Freezing Pulse Elementalist in 327. So, as you can see I have more life, less ES. What happened here? So, first and foremost I did hit level 94. I also rerolled into crit, which has changed my gear up a little bit. So, we still have Aegis, right? We still have the quote-unquote bad amulet. This is just a fix for our strength and dex, basically. So we need to change that out. We got a new ring though, with some life and fire res and strength and dex. And yeah, both these rings have mana and reduced mana cost of skills on there, which I'm still experimenting with finding the perfect balance there. And yeah, we are into crit. I do have a Shaper-influenced Paladin's Hauberk. I did do a little boo-boo here. There is a better base. And it would be one of these, like the Sacred Chainmails have a lot higher armor roll if you want more armor. And also a bit more of an ES roll, right? This is max 721 and 145. This goes up to 167 and 831. So if you want to craft one by yourself, get a Sacred Chainmail with either Shaper influenced or no influence at all, and get yourself a Shaper Exalted Orb. And yeah, so that's about those things. I also bought myself a new wand. This one is just lightning, yeah, sure. The opal wand, which the base gives you flat added cold to spells and attacks, then it had the added cold damage to spells fractured on it, a good cast speed roll, good crit roll, and +1, right? So the cast speed could be higher. This is tier 2, but I thought it would be nice. I then did slam with a Foulborn Exalted Orb and just got the 21% increased lightning damage, which is not what we want, but it's okay. I did craft spell damage on there, and I also did the Harvest enchant for quality does not increase physical damage, grants 1% increased LE damage per 2 quality, so it's just 10% increased elemental damage basically, which is fine. Helmet's still the same, gloves are still the same. I have new boots, armor ES boots, just to fulfill a requirement that we have, and also to gain a little bit more armor. It's not much, but every little bit helps. Stygian wise, still the same that I had. Double res, life, some armor, some strength, right? And then a 4% chance to gain phasing for 4 seconds on kill Jewel, which also patches up some fire res and some flat armor on there. I rolled my flasks, so this gives me increased armor, increased crit, increased armor, and immunity to poison during effect. And do we have... yeah, we have bad prefixes on both of those. This one is 3 charges when you are hit by an enemy. I would love for this to be the same as on this flask here, so chance to gain a flask charge when you deal a critical strike. Our crit chance at the moment, you get the Freezing Pulse offense, sits at 7707. If we activate our Diamond Flask, this jumps up to 91, and if we are at max power charges, because we do get power charges, we also gain, where is it, 8% increased per, so that's 40% here. We get more crit multi as well, and we have a chance to gain power charges on kill. And yeah, here you can see the other upgrades we've done, and all in all, I think the build sits at an investment of roughly between 5 to 8 divines, because I got really lucky while crafting. I did 6-link the chest by myself, extremely lucky, but yeah, we're still sitting on 4 div and a little bit of chaos here. And what else is there to talk about? So yeah, the spell crit chest, I had to use 2 divines to divine the spell crit chance. The first one I had 1.1, then I threw a divine at it to get 1.14, and I was like, oh shit, I need to throw another divine at it, and then I got 1.41. Remember, the aim is to hit 1.3% spell crit chance, and then you're good to go. We still have the imprint though, and we do have another imprint beast on the side. I just bought 2 of them, and then I was lucky to get a nice regal orb. So let's talk about how to craft a chest. You basically transmute and then use alteration orbs to get the tier 1 spell crit as a suffix, and then either a high life roll or a high increased armor and ES hybrid roll. I settled for tier 3, you could go way higher. I think on the other base I would not have settled. And so, yeah, this is how I ended up. Then I did the imprint, right? Threw a Regal Orb onto here and got tier 1 Chaos Res. And I was like, that's fine. If you get max life or increased armor, yes, that's also very, very good, right? And then I just go for multi-mod, so I can have up to 3 crafted modifiers. I crafted max life on there and triple hybrid for armor, ES, and max life as well. And we end up with like, what here, 93 max life, which is quite low, right? So you can definitely do much, much better here. But for now, it works out fairly nicely. Automating the flasks, all of them are crafted with just use when charges reach full, right? So you need 5 of the bubbles, as well as 5 of the instilling orbs. I had to buy a couple of bubbles. That's okay, right? That's okay. So, we have absolutely completed the Atlas now. Still on 2 Void Stones, right? I need to think about a second build to kill Maven and the Uber Elder, but as you can see here, we have done a lot. We have made the Formed, the Twisted, and the Forgotten work. I got through those. And we are missing Remembered, Feared, and Elder Slayers. Now, Feared is the only one that will give you a favorite map slot, and yeah, Maven gives us 1, Uber Elder gives us 1, and then Cortex gives us 1. Atlas tree wise, it's pretty much the same, just still going for the map drops, the scarabs, and also up here in the memory tears, we reduce the chance to Incarnation of Neglect and Incarnation of Fear to hopefully get the Incarnation of Dread. So yeah. And yeah, as you can see here, we have the Vault Atlas, right? So I have done all the 3 story bosses. And we are on 68% onwards to level 95. So, upgrades we have gotten the Thread of Hope. That is amazing. That frees these 2 skill points up, right? And we can get Dreamer as well, which is mana regen and reduce mana cost of skills. That's very cool. I also managed to grab myself a Militant Faith. This leaves all the nodes I want to leave alone. Basically, everything that's allocated in this radius needs to stay what it is. And I've talked about how to search for this, for a jewel like that in the last league. I can go over this once more if you guys want to. And yeah, then we allocate Inner Conviction. So our Val Cold Snap no longer generates frenzy charges, it will instead generate power charges, which is fine, but we gain 3% more spell damage per power charge instead of the increased damage per endurance frenzy or power charge. Granted, you would have 5 power charges and 3 frenzy charges at a boss fight in the beginning for the duration of the charges, right? But still, getting access to 3% more damage just feels better. Throughout mapping as well. It's a more consistent buff, right? So yeah, this Militant Faith, biggest upgrade for DPS, right? Thread of Hope, biggest upgrade for quality of life and mana issues. And also, we do have a Watcher's Eye, so this is just a dual stat, right? It is crit strikes penetrate 10% of enemy elemental resistances while affected by Zealotry, and then I found a defensive option which gives us just 5% additional physical damage reduction while affected by Determination. So that is how this works. We are no longer ailment immune, so we no longer have access to Purity of Elements. Instead, we are running Zealotry, and I didn't want to go out of my way to bring in an Enlightened setup. So, Flame Dash is still linked to Arcane Surge. We still need to proc Arcane Surge, and Sniper's Mark is also linked to this. Quality on gems I need to get there. I'm leveling stuff in my offhand as well. These are pretty decent pretty decent levels, so I will be able to swap them in and just throw these with a Gem Cutter's Prison. As you can see, not all of them did reach level 20 yet. Increased crit strike support I have manually put up with Gem Cutter's Prison, so that's a-okay. How are we looking right now? So, defense is sitting at 23,000. Armor, with both flask active, this goes over 40k, which then, through mapping, is pretty much up all the time. And Aegis will recover 2% of our armor when we block. Like, recovers ES on block, right? Which is really, really good. We have 76% in fire and lightning res and 81 on cold res because, yep, this shield gives us +5 max cold res. On our helmet, I'm still running with increased effective non-damaging ailments. That is the better damage roll that you can get, right? And increased cast speed. So both of those are offensive options. There is merit to maybe roll on like the implicit that gives you physical damage taken as cold, right? That would also be something to think about. Just make sure to have armor and ES bases in every slot, because we are using this mastery over here to get 100% increased armor and energy shield from the body armor if the helmet, gloves, and boots all have armor and ES, which is why these are all armor and ES bases right now. So we basically double, right, our armor and ES from here, which feels pretty good. I am missing the ES leech, not gonna lie. That is something that I can feel while playing, but so far it's fine. I invested in the 25% chance to open nearby chests when you cast the spell mastery. This is not needed at all. You could invest that point either into more armor and ES, that would be helpful. You could experiment with a life mastery. The 30 max life mastery doesn't do much though, so I'm not sure about that. Yeah, also this mana mastery at the moment is just regen 5 mana per second, but like you can go for the 10% chance to recover 10% mana when you use a skill. That could help you as well. So there are options. You can also like spec into different things. You could get the reservation efficiency of heralds to free up a little bit of mana and get increased effect of this as well, and a little bit more devotion, which then in turn gives you more elemental damage and more effect of non-damaging ailments, right? Because you do gain another 5 devotion, well, 15 actually, so you would get to 185. So yeah, that is basically 3 and 4% respectively that you would gain there. Cool. Also, this little note here, increased block recovery and increased energy shield from the shield. This will probably be my level 95 point. The block recovery feels just nice. Okay, so we have talked a lot about this. Now, how did I fund all of this? I got really lucky. Now, keep in mind, I was also doing a lot in this part over here with the currency exchange, but also manage shop. We have 9 chaos in here, and yeah, there's a 6 linked impulsa in there, which is basically perfect rolled. I listed it for 10 diffs right now because I might come back to this, and if I price it a little bit higher, it won't sell, yes, but it will guide me in the decision making of, do I want to make something out of the impulsa or not? And I will adjust the price accordingly. So if you go to my sales history, you can see there's a lot of smaller trades, and then from time to time you can see big things happening. So I did buy and sell a couple of ghost drives, right? Because Foulborn stuff, a couple of maps or unique maps and stuff, nothing really that big until we came roughly to here. So yeah, tier 17 maps early on, I just sold them. Then we found a Darkness Enthroned and also the unique Ghastly Jewel in there. So this was 230C that we got, and then 9 Divines on top of it. And that has set me up perfectly since then. Now, we had another good sell. So this is the Ghost Drive that I sold when I was no longer using it, right? We found a good Watcher's Eye on one of our Elder kills. We did kill him twice so far, and this one sold for 300C, which is quite nice. So yeah, this is how I funded my league start, basically. So also, a lot of bases are in here. Not a lot are in here right now, but I did sell a lot of bases early on as well, which is those small items that you sometimes see. Cool. So future upgrades for this build would be a new amulet with at least +1 to all cold spells, or +1 to all skill gems, and maybe switching the auras over to our helmet and have the craft on here for +1 of socketed AoE gems, right? That could be an option as well, which also gives you increased area of effect. That's not that important, but it can help. So we would need to put Clarity, Salutary, Herald of Ice, and Determination in our helmet, which that is doable. That is absolutely no problem. And I need to figure out which gear pieces I want and which ones I don't want. So yeah, as I said, we have the opportunity to go for an impulsor build if we want to. And just to quickly reiterate, we did kill Shaper and Elder twice, so we have Uber Elder ready. I did just trade in the fragments for the other fragment, and when that wasn't possible, I sold the duplicate one I had and bought the other one for basically the same price. We have a Maven fight ready, which I haven't done yet. Uber Elder, as I said, I haven't done yet. I've killed the Shaper, I've killed the Elder. I also killed Cyrus, and Cyrus did drop me an Awakener Orb, which I then sold, as well as something that I always like to get from him, which is the Crown of the Inward Eye. So, if I go the route of mana stacking again, this is definitely something that will be nice to have. Also, a 40 all-res gold rim dropped, so cool. Other cool drops so far, Malachi's Loop is pretty cool. We got the Dawnbreaker, as well as, did we get the body armor? I need to see. Yep, we dropped the Lightning Coil, which was quite nice. We have 1,000 ribbons for leveling. We have the leveling gloves that we saw last time. Yep, although those risks in here are also interesting for a spellcaster because you get just 100% increased spell damage. Yeah, you lose cast speed, but you can make that up pretty quickly. Amulets, Curry Wards, Purple's Toe has dropped, Shaper's Seething Tear of Purity. And rings, we found ourselves. We still have one Anathema left. I did drop another one after I bought it for a lot of money, and then it was worth nothing. That's just how it goes. Loop is here, Praxis is here, so we have a couple of uniques on the side that are quite fun. Life's Break dropped early on, and I think that's pretty much it for now. Belts. Which one is the good leveling belt that I used last time? I don't have this right now. But yeah, just a couple of things that have dropped that are good to see, cool to see. These are the old jewels. I still have them here because I might need to play around with them a little bit at some point. But so far, everything went fairly nicely. So let's just do an Alcan Go map together. Although, yeah, we will just craft ambush on there. We don't have these scarabs right now. I need to get those together. But yeah, so we are now running around with critical damage, which is very, very nice. I need to, no, not have the map up. There we go. And we basically just shield charge now and cast our spells into packs. And yeah, it is working out fairly nicely so far. Didn't have enough trouble. On rares we can cast our... Oh hey, Sanctuary map, nice. We can cast our Sniper's Mark to make them easier to kill, right? And yeah, loot filter has been updated a little bit. Let's open this breach. Let's see how this goes, right? Also, we do have a bleed removal life flask, so we need to make use of that. So this is how you clear or deal with breaches at the moment. Pretty decent so far. I'm liking the clear speed that we have. Especially for my league starting endeavors, this is enough, and yeah, the facing jewel just makes everything a little bit more easy to move around, right? You don't get stuck on things that often because you just can walk through everything, and you have the nice Herald of Ice explosions, and yeah, on these guys you just drop Frostbomb and Sniper's Mark and go to town. And keep in mind with Pinpoint, the longer you hold down your cast button, higher this number goes, and yeah, that's fine. Oh yeah, we found the Chosen actually. That's pretty decent, isn't it? It's the Skin of the Lord card. It's 1C, that's okay. Okay, let's continue. And yeah, this is just basically how the whole map will go, right? Just don't need to cast Frostbomb on small packs. I like to do it near these guys, as you can see, just to get a lot of exposure going. There we go, and yeah, we were able to reopen the strongbox, and thanks to the mastery that happened just while casting a spell, right? So that's really cool. It's a 25% chance, so it is not guaranteed at all, but it's fine. Sometimes when you have like all the scarabs in and stuff, and you have so many of the strongboxes right next to one another, it can be really funny to see how many of them you open with just one cast, right? I think I just walked around boss room, didn't I? Yeah, I did. Okay, let's do the boss fight next. Hopefully I can sustain my charges up to... it's gonna be close. So we jump in, press all our buffs, and we just chain freeze the bosses. Depending on the map rules as well. And yes, this is a graft skill. This will give us some lucky damage. We will talk about grafts in a little bit as well. Well, we can do it right now, actually. So I have this one. This gives me increased armor, which is very nice, and some fire res, right? And this will just trigger by itself, and it will give us a buff that will take 80% of damage from hits before our life or ES, and it can tank up to 4.4k damage, right? And this will proc when we are missing life, so that's pretty cool. The other one I'm using is a Storming Ash Graft. I really like this. We gain 25% increased graft blood, which is cool. We have some int on here, and then we have Reft in Light, which is we get the radiant ground around us, and this gives us not only flat lightning that it deals, but it gives us flat lightning, and also our hit damage will be lucky. Hit damage, remember that. So it doesn't apply to the damage over time effect from, well, Cold Snap if we fire that one out, but our freezing cold damage is affected by lucky damage. And yeah, that makes it so your damage number goes up a little bit. Remember, with cold damage, this isn't as big of a deal as it is with lightning damage, just because your min and max roll of damage are not that far different, right? With lightning damage, you have way more bigger ranges. So yeah, it's still helpful though, don't get me wrong. I still, in boss fights, use this on cooldown just to get that little bit more damage out of it. And yeah, I would say do the crit reroll a little bit earlier than I did. I definitely pushed way further than I should have been with the gear I had. Just because it does feel much nicer, right? Now granted, militant faiths can be extremely difficult to get. I was lucky enough to find one for 2 divines, and it was the only one of its kind. Hello. And yeah, so that was quite lucky. We have Nagamu's Sign now, nice. We have a White Wind, I love that. And this is just the body armor. Okay. So yeah, this is how the build performs at the moment. These are, I'm still experimenting with these grafts here, so I'm not too sure what I want to do with it. We will see. We will see about that. But yeah, I now will think about probably a boss killer actually, because the Maven encounter is quite, I think it's too much for me with this build. I don't think I will be able to do it. If I manage to get a second invitation, I might try it at some point, but it's, yeah, this build is not designed to deal with more than the 2 Void Stones in the beginning, right? So it has done everything it needed to do, and I'm still exceedingly happy with the build itself. So yeah, that is the current state. And yeah, I will slow down. Definitely, I have slowed down over the past couple of, or the past 2 to 3 days anyways, but like, yeah, I will not be able to invest as much playtime going forward now, but that's okay. I was, as I said in the last video, I was really surprised at how much I was able to accomplish in the amount of time that I had. And I finally had a free weekend on the league start, right? I had no stuff going on. I could just sit down and play, which was amazing. So yeah, that's all for today though. Updated POB is in the description. We will have loadouts, so you can click the non-crit version, and then in the non-crit version you have to config for that with hypothermia and everything like that. And then you have the crit version, which will just be one of the pages with the current gear I'm using and the gem setups like I am using those in this video. But yeah, that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. And as always, take care. Bye.